Ladies and gentlemen, Andy here, author of The Best Tinder Guide on the Internet, and guy who doesn't really care that YouTube is locking off 4K streaming to premium subscribers only. This is the Kill You're in a Loser show. Let's fucking go. Just sat down and recorded an interview with one of my old coaching clients, and it ended up being a really interesting interview. So this guy sort of came to me with not a whole lot of sexual experience, not a whole lot of confidence, and some issues like erectile dysfunction, performance anxiety, and a bunch of other stuff. And we worked through a lot of that stuff. But something really interesting that he did during his coaching with me was he went out to an orgy. So he joined a sort of sex club orgy. He ended up doing that quite a few times, actually, and he went to a tantric massage and did a bunch of other interesting stuff. So I sat down with him to talk about that, and I think you guys are going to find this a very interesting interview, particularly those of you who have a little bit of sort of shame around your sexuality, maybe some of the kinks that you're into, or even just wanting to admit to yourself that you care about sex, that you want to go and have some sexual experiences. I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this interview. Enjoy.
The reason I started coaching with you was I had just hired a fitness coach in December 2021. I was just doing everything he was telling me to do, and it was just going so well that I was like, in April 2022, I was like, dang, okay, I can actually get another coach and actually listen to what he says. Because like, if I can't do that, I mean, what's the point of signing up for coaching? For me, in my opinion, at the time, I was like, okay, yeah, now's the time.
I feel like it's so much easier to get shit done when you just have someone telling you what to do. Like I have a fitness coach. I have a bunch of different coaches, but like my fitness coach, it's like he'll just tell me to do something. And in my brain, right, I'll want to overcomplicate it and I want to argue with him and I want to be like, no, that won't work. Like that's not the right way to do it. But if you can just sort of like humble yourself and say, no, I'm just going to trust this person. I'm going to shut up and do what they say. It works. Like they're telling you that advice for a reason. And I feel like the biggest struggle of coaching, right? I don't know if you had this. You were actually a pretty good student. But like one of the biggest struggles with coaching is like just doing what the coach says. And it sounds so simple, but it's like you want to have all these like arguments and you want to say like that won't work for me, or, you're making it sound too simple. It should be more complex than that. And it's like if you can just humble yourself and do what your coach says, it's like that's when the magic happens.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've definitely struggled with that. Like one guy, he's just posting like we have like this pictures and profiles channel in our Discord. And he's like, all you got to do is take a photo shoot, literally a photo shoot every day, and that'll transform your Tinder dating. And I've just been so resistant. Like I have been like not been able to take photo or not doing that work, but I have made a lot of progress in photography since last month. So I definitely feel more comfortable. I don't know why I have that much resistance, and it's also like that in other areas of life. But that was one of the things that I was pushing off the work on, even though it was like these guys are definitely getting results and they know exactly what they're doing. And I trust like their opinion with my life. I've seen their profiles and it's like, why wouldn't you do this? But I don't know. I just had a lot of resistance.
Because you're a shitty human, just like I'm a shitty human and we're all shitty humans. And someone gives us like the ticket to happiness. They tell us like, do exactly this thing and you'll be happy. And then all this shit comes up in your head, like all the limiting beliefs of like, oh, it won't work, or it's too much effort, or I don't want to do that, or like, ugh, but like that would come with extra pressure, or what if I fail, or what if I get rejected, or what if I put in all this effort and I look like an idiot and they think I'm an idiot, like all of that kind of shit. And so it is worth digging through that stuff. And like I would encourage you in this situation to do that. Like dig through all those thoughts and basically inquire into each one and say, well, what's the worst that happens if I look like an idiot? Really nothing bad. I can just go and take more photos. Like, is it true that I'm going to do a terrible job? Well, I might, but I might not. Like to just sort of dig through each one of those. But more than anything, man, you already kind of know the answer. And it's the answer that we always come to, which is like, you're just going to have to fucking do it. At the end of the day, right? It's such a simple, stupid thing. It's like there's a reason that a lot of motivational coaches will just sort of motivate you to just get started and take that first step. Because when you take that first step, you show yourself it's not that scary a thing that you're talking about. And so what I would encourage here is like break down with the photo shoots. Instead of saying I have to do a photo shoot every day, which maybe is too intimidating to you. Maybe in your head, you're like, I don't have time, or I can't be bothered, or that's a lot of effort, or what if people see me taking photos and I look like an idiot, or like all that kind of, those kind of fears. Tell yourself, I just have to take one fucking photo a day. I can do that photo inside. I can do that photo outside. It would obviously be better outside. Perfect. It's like, that's the answer, man. Just like break it down so it's so stupidly simple that it sounds embarrassingly, pathetically small when you say like, oh, I'm just going to do one photo. You're almost embarrassed. You're like, one photo, that's easy. That's pathetic. And it's like, yeah, make it pathetically easy because then you'll at least fucking do it. And then you'll have a day where you do one photo and you go, that was pathetic. I could have done more than that. Fuck it. I'm going to do 20 photos today. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Nice, so there's less resistance. So that's always kind of the answer. I feel like that was definitely the answer with you with coaching on a couple of things that you were sort of like hesitant on.
Yeah, I will tell you that my photography experience has skyrocketed since like last month because
practice.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would do like 10 pictures before bed, and then I'd always like learn something new before the next day, and then eventually, I think somebody I can't remember, but somebody recommended I start doing like selfies with my DSLR, and then that way I would like learn how to take pictures of myself and graduate up to like photo shoots and whatever. And yeah, that was a game changer because yesterday I took a picture where the lighting was above me. I had all the lights
like
off.
Serial killer lighting.
Yeah, and it had
the
like
light comes straight down.
Yeah, and my friend, he told me I looked like the Godfather, but yeah, my eyes were completely like in shadow, and it looked like I had like sunglasses on. It was really cool. Yeah, just by taking like 10 pictures a day for like a month, it's amazing. Like now I actually enjoy photography.
I was going to say, do you know how many people have like started photos just for their dating profile and they take a bunch of photos and they go like, man, I actually love photography now. Like photography is fun.
That's awesome. So yeah, that's also one of the habits that I'm just like really happy with where I am right now.
Because when you started like before this, you hadn't had much practice at all with photography. And I say this all the fucking time, man. This is like, I get this question probably more than any other. People will say like, how do I take good Tinder photos? And I've written so many guides. Obviously, I have the massive Tinder guide. I've done a bunch of articles. I did a long article called Why Your Tinder Photos Suck. And I went through like 20 different reasons why to show you what not to do with examples from people from Tinder and all that stuff. So I've written a lot about it, but people will still say, how do I take good Tinder photos? And my answer is always the same. It's like, read the guides, but then you have to just go out and take thousands of photos. Like I can explain the concepts to you, but they don't mean anything. Like if I say, generally speaking, you don't want to take a photo from too low down looking up because it might make your chin look a little unflattering. And there's exceptions to that, but that's a general rule. If I tell you that, you'll go like, okay, well, I guess fine. I understand that. But if you actually go out and take some photos and see your own face looking fat because you shot upwards and looking like up your nose like this, because you're looking up, you see that it's unflattering and you go, oh, fuck, he was right. That bald ginger guy was correct. Like you really need to actually put this shit into practice. And you know this from like getting laid and talking to women and stuff. It's exactly the same. People will sit there and say, how can I be good with women? How can I be confident? How can I be a masculine man who knows how to hit on women and all that? And it's like, you just have to go and do it. I'm sorry, but you have to do it. We can't teach you the skills of confidence. Like, how the fuck can we make you confident? We can tell you all this stuff that'll make you feel good, but then you'll walk out to talk to a woman and you'll shit your pants like we all do. No matter how much knowledge is in your head. If anything, I think the knowledge makes you shit your pants more because there's like more to think about. And you're like, I have to do a perfect job. I have to remember the game plan. And it's like, bro, there's too much shit to remember. Just do a shitty job and get better. So maybe let's take a step back and talk about like where you were before the coaching, what you wanted to get out. And then we're going to talk about the cool thing, the orgy that you had, the weird sexual tantric. Plus, we'll talk about the tantric massage and you did some cool shit, brother, in the coaching.
Yeah.
Let's start filling in the blanks, like who you were before. So, when you joined, you didn't have a lot of experience with women. You had been depressed in your early 20s. Like this is, years before you came to me for coaching. You'd had erectile dysfunction pretty severely from porn and jerking off.
Yeah,
and I feel like, generally speaking, okay, I'd rather hear it from you. Like, what did you want out of the coaching? Like, what was your mission? What was your goal? Like, what did you want by the end of it? Like, what kind of person did you want to be? What did you want to achieve? What were you looking to get out of it?
So I wanted a long-term coaching commitment, honestly, like, because, I've had like, I like a lot of other guys, I've been in doing RSD stuff and going to their seminars, but it's like, and I went to this one boot camp that was like 3 days and they're like, oh, we're going to, promise to change your life. And then, the emotions were high for like a week. And then I was just back to my same life. And I was like, I don't want that. I want somebody who's like invested in me. And I was like, so yeah, I'm going to start thinking long-term. And I was like, all right, Andy's that guy. So that was the first thing. The second thing, I just wanted to fix like my dating life. And like, after I found your guide, it was just like, holy shit, this guy like actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
And
this
like
guy's like autistic. He's written an autistically long 130,000 word fucking Tinder guide. Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, not even that, but you like actually put this, this is what I've, my results, this is who I am. You didn't like hesitate to put your name and face out there.
Oh, trust me, brother. I hesitated in the early days. I was fucking terrified to do that shit. But yeah, I get your point.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I think this guy can teach me. And so, and yeah, I just really liked your values, and you're just like, honesty is what it's built on top of. And I didn't want any like slimy tactics or whatever. And I was like, all right, this guy resonates with me. I think I'll give coaching a shot. And I thought a lot about it, like probably months. I was like, do I want this guy to coach me? And finally,
I think a lot of people do, man. Yeah.
Finally, actually in April 2022, I was like, all right, now I'm gonna book coaching. And then I just procrastinated for a month. And
that's pretty common too, dude. You don't know, like a lot of the podcasts that I do where it's like super motivating and I'm like, stop being a pussy. Like, just let me fucking help you. So many people are like on the fence and they're like, they've been there. There'll be people listening to this who are like on the fence. And then I'll do like one podcast where I'm like, stop fucking procrastinating. And they'll go, all right, fine, Andy, I listened to that podcast. I've stopped procrastinating. Let's fucking do it. So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. In terms of,
oh yeah.
Yeah. If you got more to say, go for it, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, just mainly the dating aspect, because I agree, like none of the areas of my life were going that great, but I would say the dating one was the one I was the most dissatisfied with. So that's the one big thing that I wanted to try to change.
I feel like it's the one that people are the most lost with. I don't fully know why that is, and I mean, I guess we can sit here and like circle jerk and invent reasons why we think guys struggle and women struggle too, like why people struggle with dating. I don't know if it's a combination of just like the media putting out a bunch of like weird like Hollywood, Disney crap about like, if you just wait and just be yourself, the right girl will come along for you. And it's like, bro, that train is long. So like that ship has sailed. A chick's not just going to magically fall from the sky and be like, oh, hey, like you're perfect exactly as you are when you haven't even talked to any women and you haven't tried and you're sitting in your fucking basement playing World of Warcraft every day. That's an old fucking game reference. What do kids play these days? Fucking
Fortnite. No, actually, I don't know.
Come on, none of my audience, none of our community are playing fucking Fortnite. You get the point, though. I don't know why people struggle with dating so much. I did too. Like, let's be clear. It's not. I didn't know what I was doing at the start. I think it's because we see the opposite gender, and women do this too. We see the opposite gender as like scary and also like better than us in a way, or like somehow perfect, or somehow like we see, or a lot of guys see women as like super pretty and they're like up on a pedestal and you're like, oh my God, like, I bet she's happy all the time and I bet she's so cool and she's so interesting and she must have so many friends. And it's like, no, bro, she's a train wreck. She's a train wreck just like you. You just haven't bothered to us. So, and women do the same thing with men. The number of women that I've had say like, oh, men must just like always feel confident all the time. And like they're always just go-getters and they never have any emotions or problems. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that is not, what the fuck have you, and I think we just have these weird ideas in our head of what the opposite gender is because we just haven't associated with them enough. I think it's literally just that we haven't talked to enough women. And in women's case, they haven't talked to enough men. I don't think there's ever anything actually wrong. I don't think dating is that hard. It seems terrifying, but it's really just going to the opposite gender and saying hello. And then they say hello back and then you fucking go, go from there. So was that kind of your experience with women? Should we segue into the tantric massage and the orgy and the stuff like that? Or is that
we could. I guess I do. Well, I was gonna say, I do want to talk about, I guess, my dating life currently as well.
Do it.
I don't know if you want to do that after or before.
Do it now. Let's go, baby. Fire it up.
It's not good. I just want to start off with that. I do think like the tantra and the BDSM stuff have definitely opened a lot of doors, but I think I have definitely psyched myself out with approaching again. Like I just haven't done anything in like a month,
Well, hey, you know the answer is like just put yourself
Yeah,
out there on
yeah.
the front lines, break it down, do the smallest possible thing that you could possibly do. One of the
Hmm.
guys who's in my coaching program right now, two of the guys actually, one of them starts with A, the Asian guy, you would know him.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the other
yeah.
guy, the bald guy that starts with G, you'd know him.
Okay.
Both of them have had a long break from like approaching. And so what I've gotten them to do for the last week is literally just walk outside every single day for 15 minutes. That's it. Think about
Okay.
talking to women. You don't have to. They've both done that for a week now. And both of them are now like, I'm starting to feel a bit confident. Maybe I'll actually start hitting on some women now. I've
That's
done that
true.
with so many of my coaching clients. That's what I did with you in the beginning.
Hmm.
It's like, just put yourself out there on the front line. So you kind of know the answer, but we do this thing, and it sounds like maybe you're doing that too, where we psych ourselves out and we say like, oh man, there must be something wrong. Like, how come it's been a month. Why haven't I talked to any women? And it's like, bro, it's not that complicated. Like,
Yeah.
try not to build it up into this big mountain, this big like thing that you have to overcome. It's like, no,
Mhm.
bro, make it as small as you possibly can. I just have to go outside every day for 15 minutes, walk around. I do that for a week, and then I'll push myself to talk to women. And if I can't do it, fine,
Okay.
I'll take another week and I'll just keep pushing. And at some point, you know that you will talk to a woman. You did it
Yeah.
last time. You've
Yeah.
done it before. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I can
just
do that.
refamiliarizing yourself. Of course you can do it. You've done it before,
Yeah.
and that's my point. And so we make
Yeah.
it into this big thing of like, why haven't I approached for a month? It's like, because you just haven't approached for a month.
Mhm.
I could say like, why have I not run a marathon this month? It's like, because you just didn't enter any marathons. Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with you. You just haven't competed in a marathon. If you want to
Yeah.
compete in a marathon, into a marathon. If you want to talk to girls, go talk to girls.
Okay.
Is there more you want
Nice.
to talk about dating?
I went to this like speed dating
Okay.
event.
So you've gone to an orgy, you've gone to a tantric massage, now you've gone to a speed dating shit. Fuck yeah.
Well,
Putting yourself out there. What?
it
Well,
was
what?
it was the speed dating event was recommended to me by my parents.
I mean, I respect that. Your parents trying to get you some pussy. I respect either that or trying to get you married. It's probably
Something
the
like
second
that.
one, isn't it?
Yeah, probably the
Yep.
second one.
Yeah. So
So
how
I think
was that?
it was great, man. Everybody
Okay.
there, I guess, was under the impression, or the impression set on by that event was like, you're gonna find somebody that you're gonna date and eventually get married. There was like, yeah, it was like talk to each girl for like 2 or 4 minutes, I can't remember, and there were like 30 girls and like 35 guys. And at the beginning, I was like super nervous, and then
Yeah.
but
I'd be
yeah,
fucking terrified too. Yeah.
by the middle, I was like in a nice little groove, and I was like asking the questions that they set aside, and then by the end, I was like, you know what, I just don't want to talk anymore. There's even one girl where I was like, let's just sit here and just not talk, and she was like, yeah, I'm down for that.
Wait. So I got questions, man. How many
Yeah,
people do you talk to in a night in one of these events?
there were like 30
So wait,
girls.
so you
Yeah,
talk to everyone.
yeah, more or
Whoever
less.
you end up talking to, like by the end, you're both going to be tired as shit. It's going to be shit. You're going to be
Well,
exhausted, right?
exactly. But then I was like, let me change up the questions. So
Okay.
instead of like the standard questions, I saw a water bottle in the distance, and I was like, if you could be any type of water bottle, what would you be?
It's like those quizzes that like children, like fucking teenagers take, where it's like, what type of bean are you? Are you a lima bean or are you a kidney bean? It's like literally that. What type of water bottle would you be? It's
So I hit it off with two girls. One of the girls that I hit it off with was towards the end, and I was like, I had this brilliant idea. I was like, you know what? Forget all these other questions. Let me just jump straight to the fun stuff. And I asked her like,
Mhm.
so what drugs have you tried?
Perfect. Yeah.
And yeah, it
Yeah.
was good. We just hit it off, and we just started talking about like acid, and it was cool. And yeah, eventually we went to dinner later.
Amazing.
And then the other girl, she was somewhere in the middle, and this one was wild. Like, she was like super bubbly, and she was like, I told her I can play guitar, and she was like, oh my gosh, you can play guitar. What can you play? And I was like, I'll show you if you freestyle rap for me. And and then she was like, I can't freestyle, but I can give you a beat. And so she gave me a beat, and I rapped like a Queen song, and she thought I was freestyling it, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" But
This is like exactly what I talked about, like in my Tinder guide, in the section on like what to do on dates.
Yeah.
One of the biggest philosophies that I get across to guys, like, because, you know, guys will sort of get in their own head and they say, what should I say on the date? What should we talk about? You know, should I ask about her childhood? Should I ask about this? Like, what should we do? And the answer that I always give is like, just have fun. Like, whatever the fuck you want to talk about. You want to talk about drugs. You want to talk about the meaning of life. You want to freestyle rap and play the guitar and do silly shit like that. It's like, fucking do it. The whole point of a date is that you're supposed to have fun, and then she will have fun with you. You're the guy. It's your job to take the lead. And so you take the lead and start having fun. She'll go along for the ride. Like, you probably were the most interesting person that, and I can't know that for sure, but you probably were like top 3 most interesting people at that fucking speed dating event of all the guys there, because you're probably the only one who was like, fuck these questions. Let me do what I want to do. Yeah. It's like, there are no rules, man. There's no correct thing to say on a date. There's no correct way to date someone or to have sex or any of that. It's like, do whatever you want to do. I love that, man. That's fucking amazing. Thanks.
Basically, we set up the date, and then during the date, with that girl, the freestyle girl, during that date, I was pretty direct. You know, I was like, I told her exactly what I liked about her. Like, I think I actually told her I liked her big tits.
Perfect. Great. I would have phrased it in a slightly more, but perfect.
Yeah, and then I said some other stuff, and she was like, I'm shocked, but I like how direct you are. We started talking about sex, and I told her about the tantric massage that I had done. I was like, this happened a few months ago, so I was like, this last month has been a whirlwind. And she was like, of course, very curious. So I was like, yeah, I can demonstrate this tantric massage on you. And then so I gave her like a elemental massage, which is like, you like air, earth, fire, water, all these different like massaging techniques. And that she enjoyed that a lot. And then we talked about BDSM. She was like telling me about all her like sexual experiences, I guess, that normally she wouldn't tell a guy on a first date. So that was cool. And then I told her about the play party, or like at least a little like sneak peek. And she was just like, she was just like mind blown. She was like, I can't believe you did that. And anyways, eventually we tried to move to like a more private place, because like with an event where the intent is marriage, you don't really want to be seen like kind of fooling around.
Sure. So. Yeah. Wait. So all this happened, you went to a different bar, correct? This is the dinner that you went to afterwards. This isn't at the actual
No. Sorry. That was earlier on in the day.
Perfect. I got you.
Yeah. So we had dinner with the 2 girls I was into. I set up dates with both of them, and then I had to cancel on the other one because the first day was going so well. So
look at this, my man's a player. Look at this. Yeah. So what happened with the tantric massage chick? The chick with the little massage too.
Yeah. So then I was
the freestyle chick. Yeah.
So then I pulled her into an elevator. When we got off, we made out in the ice chest room, where there's like ice and people go to like get their vending machines and stuff.
Fucking romantic. Yeah. That's gonna do wonders for erectile dysfunction. Having your dick so fucking cold you can't get it up. Yeah. Next.
Well, I don't even know how. Yeah, because sorry. I forgot to mention, my parents and I were staying in the same room. So, and same with hers. And so I couldn't like bring her back to my room because
sure.
I was just like, all right, we'll just find another area. And then so we just went to the stairwell. I pulled her to the stairwell, and then we started making out there. And it was, I guess, just too much for her. She was like, I've never made out in a stairwell before, and it was too much too soon, and it got heated. But then it kind of cooled down at that point. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was very, very steamy. A lot of flirting, and yeah, it was fun.
Okay, so what's the end of? I have like 7 questions about that, so we'll go back in a second. But like, what happened afterwards? Did you see her again? That can't be the end of the story.
No. Well, so she lives in the U.S. as well, and so I don't know. I have like, kind of confidence issues. So I haven't texted her, but I can text her at any point.
Motherfucker, you can text her right now on this podcast right now. Send her a text right now. Right, all you have to write is hey. You write hey. Or write,
Okay.
hey, what's up? Right now, hey, we're not continuing this podcast. Get
All
that phone out.
right,
Do it right
I'm
now.
doing it right now.
Are you actually?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. Just write, hey, what's up? Or hey, been thinking about you. Or hey, sorry I took so long to text you.
Well, just tell me one thing to say, and then I'll text it.
Just say like, hey, sorry I took so long to text you. I've been thinking about you.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing coaching live on the air. Me yelling it. I swear this is like half of my coaching. You're not even my coaching client anymore, but this is like half of what my coaching is. Like someone sort of holding back and like self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
And we do this. This isn't just you. I'm not going to pick on you, but what's the worst? What's the thing that you're afraid of? Like, why would you not text her? You're afraid that like what, you're not going to be able to perform for her. You're afraid that she has some big expectation of you and you're not going to live up to that.
I might have oversold myself a little bit on the date. And I do mean a little bit. I don't like, I just told her I've been with more girls than I actually have, because that's one of my insecurities.
Yeah, that's the classic meme. It's like whatever, when you ask a woman how many people she's been with, whatever number she gives, you have to divide it by 3. Sorry, you have to multiply it by 3.
Yeah.
Because it's probably been 3 times as many. Whenever you ask a guy how many people he slept with, you have to divide it by 3, because he's probably lied by 3 times. So on that note, what I would suggest here, honesty is always going to be my answer. When she texts back and probably says something like, why the fuck haven't you texted me? Like, where the hell have you been? I would just be real with her, man. I'd be like, to be honest, like, I feel like I kind of oversold my sexual, experience and stuff. I'm still learning. You don't have to say like, I lied, you can if you want to be that honest, but I would just say like, hey, I feel like I built myself up maybe a little bit too much. And I'm worried that you might have expectations of me as some like amazing sex god. That's not really me. But, if you'd like to have another date, I had a lot of fun with you. I just thought I'd be honest and real with you. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything amazing. You don't have to say like, oh my God, I lied to you. I'm sorry, princess. Like, please forgive me.
Yeah.
But I would push towards honesty, because that solves your insecurity. Your biggest insecurity is that she will find out that you oversold yourself, or maybe she'll find out that you're not as sexually experienced as you want to be. So it's like, that's your biggest insecurity. So I say like, rather than waiting for her to figure that out, or in your case, just like not even giving her that chance because you just say, I'm going to push her away. Rather than waiting for her to figure that out, just fucking tell her right now. Lay all your cards out on the table. That's always my answer, because it makes you feel better immediately. There's like a couple of hours or minutes or whatever of discomfort while you're waiting for her to reply. But as soon as she replies, and most women are pretty fucking nice, she'll reply with something nice. Like, that's okay, I understand. And then you get to feel better. Now there's no skeleton in the closet. So that's probably the biggest reason I push honesty, or one of them. It's so that you don't have to sit there and worry that she'll find stuff out. You just fucking tell her. You just tell her like, hey, I'm scared of this thing, or I'm nervous about this thing, or I'm not super confident with this, but don't worry, I'll practice. Like, I'd love to practice with you, blah, blah, blah. So good job for texting her.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, we're in different cities, but it's
hey, you can always figure it out. You can make it work. You know what I mean? There's always like fucking texting each other and dirty talking for a bit and then hooking up again. Like a lot of that stuff, it doesn't, what am I trying to say? You can kind of have like you can have people on the back burner, if you know what I mean. It's like, you keep in touch. You just say, hey, if we're ever in the same city again, or if you ever feel like a trip, or I feel like a trip, we can hook up again. You don't have to close the door and say, oh, we're in different cities, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you don't have expectations and say like, we got to be boyfriend and girlfriend long distance until we're ready to meet up again. No, it's just more like, if you're ever in town and you're single and I'm single, maybe we can grab a drink and see what happens. So
yeah.
It sounds like it was a fun night.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. I just definitely have some like insecurities that
and that's
bothered me.
That's okay, man. Like, we all have insecurities, and my point is like, if you just say the insecurities and you say, yeah, I'm a little bit insecure about this, as long as you own it. Like, I wouldn't say, oh my God, I'm so insecure about this. Like don't collapse into a steaming heap of like patheticness. I think you understand the difference, but it's like, you just say like, yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'll be real. I'm kind of insecure about this thing. It's something I'm working on. Like, it's something that I'm, practicing and getting better at, but I'd just rather be honest with you and tell you, like, I'm a little bit insecure about this.
Yeah.
And hell, if you want to have a conversation, man, you can say to her, is there anything you're insecure about? Women will tell you everything if you go first. She already did. You already have an example of that. When you went first with the sex talk and were honest about that, you were met with honesty.
True.
and you're probably the first person that she was ever that honest with on a date, especially like the first freaking date.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably, she probably wasn't lying when she said, you know, not that I think she would lie, but she's probably telling the truth when you're in the stairwell and she goes like, this is moving way quicker than I've ever done it before. It's like, yeah, because you were honest.
True.
Came from that foundation of honesty. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up for having insecurities. That's normal, but just get them out into the fucking open. I'm a big advocate of just admitting it. And if she walks away and doesn't like your insecurities and says, hey, I'm going to leave. Hey, cool. That's better than, you already did that anyway. You already haven't texted her anyway. So it's the same thing. So like, you're not losing anything.
Right.
So
yeah.
In terms of honesty on the date, like talking about sex and stuff like that, was that the first time you've sort of been that honest or that direct, I guess, about sex and intentions and your desires?
Yeah, I've never done that.
Was it terrifying?
No, I mean, the vibe was good. So it was like pretty easy. And I guess, I mean, I think I'd already built up myself as this, you know, I play guitar, I freestyle rap. So
yeah, sure. He thinks you're really fucking cool, which you are.
Exactly.
Like sometimes we're our own like worst critic or our own worst enemy, or another way of phrasing that is like, we don't give ourselves credit for all the things about ourselves that are cool. And if you're already like, you know, being this fun, energetic, cool, interesting, silly guy on a date with seemingly plenty of confidence, or at least enough confidence to do those things. Most other guys aren't doing those things. So you are more confident than those people. But we kind of tell ourselves a story of like, oh, I'm just acting, or I'm just being silly tonight. This isn't who I usually am. You kind of even did it. You said like, I've oversold myself with her. And it's like, not really, man. Like you don't just fake those things. The average person can't fake those things. Most people don't fake those things. So you can call it like faking. You know, I oversold myself. I'm not really a rap star and I don't really play, you know, I'm not really great at guitar and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but bro, that is you. You're being harsh on yourself. So sounds like it was a fun night. I love the honesty. I dig that. In terms of like her, when you were in the stairwell and her saying like, hey, this is moving too fast. I feel like you already know this, but that's just a logistics thing. Like we can't know.
Oh, no. Sure. Yeah. She told me, she was like, if we're in the same city, you know, I'd like hook up with you in a heartbeat. So,
or even if you just had a place you can go to rather than in a stairwell. Yeah, exactly. And so in those cases, sometimes you can say like, yo, do you want to go to a hotel room? But like, you obviously can't make someone, you know, it sounds like she was obviously already at the point where she was a little bit like, I think this is as far as I want to go tonight. And
I see.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Point is, good job, dude. That's a nice story for me to hear. Cause at the start, when you first signed up for coaching, I feel like what I wanted to give you more than anything was like permission to be more direct, permission to be more confident, permission to be sexual with women, I guess, because I think you came to the coaching without any permission to do that. And I don't know if this was me just reading into it, but I got the sense, the same thing I get out of a lot of, you know, coaching clients, that you thought you were like different to some of the other guys that get laid, or maybe not as confident. As in, you're not there yet. Like in your mind, you're like, I'm not ready to be.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, bro, like every single person that you see that's super confident, like me included, wasn't confident at the start. We all felt exactly the way you felt or the way you feel right now. And the answer was obviously pushed through. We all had periods. Like I had a 5-month period where I didn't go outside and talk to women. I wanted to, but like I stayed inside. I was super depressed. You know, I got really rusty. It was really difficult. We've all been through those periods, or most of us has. And it's very easy to look at the people that are ahead of you and say, oh, they're different, or maybe I could get there one day, but I'm not ready yet, or maybe they have some confidence that I don't have, or maybe they're just at a certain stage of their self-improvement that I'm not at yet. And it's like, bro, like that's all just limiting beliefs. At any point, you can just decide to like start that process. So you've already started that process. So that story makes me really happy, man. I'm really genuinely happy for you. That's a really cool story.
So I will say that issue of the, like, I guess, confidence and the, I don't know, however you phrased it, it did resurface again at this past play party on Sunday. And so anyways, we'll get there. I think that's a interesting topic that I want to talk about, but we'll get there when we
Let's
get there.
fucking do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But I think to preempt the conversation, I think sometimes we look at, especially something like performance anxiety or erectile dysfunction or just general confidence with your own, abilities with the opposite gender. I think sometimes we're hypersensitive to any little step backwards. And so maybe we go on a date and we're super confident, like you were on that date. That's pretty fucking ballsy. You're pretty confident.
No.
And that was fucking confident. You were very confident. And
Just
so
okay. Sorry.
We will be confident. We'll do something confident. We'll do something like, you went to an orgy, you had a tantric sex massage, you did some really confident things. And then we will maybe have a day where we're not feeling ourselves, or maybe we'll have a woman in the bedroom and our dick doesn't work because we're just too in our own head or whatever. And we'll overanalyze it and we'll go, oh my God, am I going backwards? I thought I was making progress. I thought I'd moved past this. I thought I was supposed to be past this shit. Like, why is it happening? I'm going backwards. I'm never going to fix this. And we sort of get swept up in the over-analysis of that one event. And it's worth reminding ourselves that almost everything that you work on, especially if it's something like performance anxiety, you've probably built up over a long period of time. I know your story with, porn and stuff like that in your 20s and jerking off a lot. You built up performance anxiety over a long period of time. Often it doesn't just fix itself with one good confident event or even two. Sometimes we take 10 steps back and then 10 steps forward and then 5 steps backwards. I've had that with so many of my goals. I've had that with confidence. I had periods where I was super confident and then I just, I've slept with I would go through a period where I sleep with 20 women or something in a row in the space of a month or something. And then I just randomly have a date where I just feel like a fucking loser. I feel so unconfident. I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like I'm just a mess. And it's I will get frustrated. And this is in the past. This doesn't happen anymore. But in the past, I would get really frustrated with that. And I'd say, what the fuck is wrong with me? I thought I was supposed to be past this. I thought I'm better than this. Why is this still happening? And it's because that's what progress is, man. It's 10 steps forward, a couple steps back, sometimes 10 steps back. And you go further back than where you started. It's a very it seems like a very random process at the start. But as long as you're working on it, as long as you're embracing your fears, and you are doing that, if you've been to another sex party, mate, that's you literally embracing your fears. What I would do is, rather than look at, how did I do per event? How do I do per sexual event? If sometimes I'm lacking confidence and my dick doesn't work, don't even care about that. Literally throw that out the window. Don't worry about that. Just look at a longer trajectory. And it's are you in a better position than you were a year ago? Answer the question.
100%.
Yeah. That's all that fucking matters, man. And yes, if you go through a period where for 5 months in a row, you're going backwards. Yes, I would hit pause. Even if it's 3 months in a row, I would hit pause and go hey, what's going on? I feel like things are getting worse. Do I need to change something? What's going on? Do I need to pause? Do I need what's happening? But if there's a trajectory upwards, you're improving yourself, hey, that's all that fucking matters. It's very easy to look at my coaching and maybe some of the other clients that I do interviews with, and especially my own story, and go oh, look at that. He was depressed and then he just wasn't. Oh, it's he must have just gone up like that. And it's no, bro, it was up and down and up and down and up and down. I'm just not going to put that in an article. Or I do put that in an article, but you ignore it because you go oh, but before and after, that's all I care about. I don't care about the in-between shit because that's, your mind doesn't really care about that. You care more about the overall journey. So I promise you we'll look back 3 years from now and you go, remember the time where I was super worried about performance anxiety? Man, fuck that. And I used to be very worried about performance anxiety too. I used to just throw down the fucking Cialis and the Viagra pills, and I was terrified that my dick wouldn't work until I embraced what I got you to embrace in the coaching, which was if your dick doesn't work, just don't use your dick. And we'll talk about that in a second, because you had a period of time, or you had a moment where you were let me just not use my dick. And you made the tantric massage woman orgasm without using your dick.
What?
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Tantric, at the play party. Well, no. Well, so I made somebody orgasm at the play party, but not.
Was that the tantric massage?
No.
Because what happened with the tantric massage? You said I was happy she was getting pleasure out of the experience. I was able to give my masseuse a full body orgasm just from her giving me a hand job. It was
that's right.
yeah. So we're going to talk about that in a second. but that was you like sort of coming into your own and realizing like my dick isn't my only like masculinity. Like I have
True.
hands, I have my voice, I have my body, I have my everything. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess
feel
I
like
forget that sometimes.
Yeah, you do, because we all do that, man. Like we forget the progress that we've made, and that's kind of the point that I'm making here. Like we obsess about the negatives because they have a bigger impact on our psyche. Like fair enough, you know, we're wired to take notice of things that seem negative, but it is worth pausing and saying like, man, actually, you know what? This is a pretty decent amount of progress that I've made. And a good question to ask yourself is like, do I want to go back in time? Like, would I go back in time 1 year right now? And you're like, no, fuck no. I don't want to go back a year in time. And then it's like, okay, well, I must be doing something right. So
nice.
let's talk about the orgy first, I guess, and then the masseuse, because I have like a bunch of questions.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Topics and stuff like that. So the orgy / sex party, I guess, tell us what exactly happened, because people will hear that and go like sex party, orgy, and like some weird shit happened there, man. Like you guys put like plants or like sage or something, sage leaves. What's that?
Yeah,
Tell us that.
That was wild. So I can talk about the first one and the second one together if you want, or separately.
Go on. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
What is an orgy? What is a sex party? How did you find this thing?
Yeah.
If some other like guy is sitting there listening going, how can I find this? Like, how could I go to a sex party? Because you're just a normal average dude. Like, it's not like you were just randomly in the group one day. I don't know if you were the first person or if the other guy was the first person, because two of you ended up doing it. And I can't remember which one of you went first, but it's like
I think I did it because I searched Tantra on Eventbrite, which
that's right. Yeah. Eventbrite is similar to Meetup if nobody's ever heard of Eventbrite. You literally went looking for this shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got a little lucky because the organizers that were hosting this event, that was like their last event before they changed states. And so but yeah, I'll start from the beginning just so people who are listening to this have an idea of what it is. So it's called a play party. It might also have like different names, but essentially like I think the name came from like BDSM, where like, you know, you have different types of like play, like you know, fear play, temperature play. Yeah, I don't know, stuff like that, bondage play, whatever. And the play party is just an event where you can just act out those kinks and, you know, desires. And it also has, you know, sometimes it has like a tantra or like a BDSM like vibe or aspect to it, where you know, and they're very similar too. Like tantra is just like more I guess spiritual, but
yeah, and more slow paced, and I think slow paced is a good way of phrasing it.
Yeah. And but as far as like the fundamental principles of like consent and trust and respecting boundaries, they both agree. But yeah, those are pretty important. Like you just if somebody says they don't want to be touched somewhere, you respect that. And vice versa. And yeah. And yeah, you can just play with whoever you want.
And it's essentially like a free for all, isn't it? As long as you're respecting what people are happy with, it's like whatever goes. You can do literally anything there.
Yeah, exactly. So like, sometimes, you know, people will be that they'll like be doing threesomes or foursomes or just even like more. And, you know, if you want to join, you'll have to just, ask everyone if that's okay. And, you know, I mean, so yeah, it's a cool kind of environment. The first one I went to, they had a lot of like different events. It's like a very like novelty based event as well. You know, you might see some things like bondage or flogging if you've never seen that before. Yeah, there was they split us up into groups after doing some icebreakers, and they're like, "What do you want to do with the other people in your group?" And so the girl I was with, I told her I want to just like make out for a bit, and she was like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." And then so we just went off into a different room and started making out, and then just fooling around. And yeah, I mean that was like all within like 10 minutes of the icebreakers ending. So like anything's possible, like Andy was saying. And shortly after, there were other people in the room, and there was this girl getting like massaged, and at some point, I guess she wanted Sage getting blown out of her ass, so that happened. I've never seen that in my entire life. Like Sage,
so
the
what was
leaf.
it, like sticks? So
Yeah,
Sage leaves in her ass lit on fire.
Yeah,
I guess. Okay.
I mean, all I remember is just like a flame shooting out, and I was just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
It really is anything goes at these things. That's kind of the point. I feel like it's a good experimentation of human sexuality because it's generally speaking like a pretty non-judgmental environment. Like as long as everyone 100%. Consents and you don't hurt someone.
Yeah, it's a very like non-judgmental for sure. And so to find this event, you could try searching like Tantra on Eventbrite. FetLife also might have some of these events available.
Yep.
FetLife is also a good place to like, if you think you have a kink that you think is like wrong, which I did before I knew what FetLife was. There's a good chance FetLife has it, and then you won't feel, and there'll be like other people that will, it'll feel safe, like it's not wrong. But yeah.
Are you comfortable sharing that fetish, or would you rather keep it private?
I think I'll keep it private for now.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah.
I think FetLife and, again, the other website is called Eventbrite, eventbrite.com and FetLife.com. I think those and anywhere else that you can find, there's like Facebook groups and Telegram groups and shit like this. But when you find like I guess you could call it like a kink community or just like a tantric community or a BDSM community. There's a bunch of different stuff you can search for. Sex clubs are another thing you can search for. When you find these people, they are a pretty fucking nice environment to go and realize like, oh, maybe you're not some like weird sexual freak that you thought you were. And like a lot of guys, like a lot of clients that I've worked with and a lot of guys that have emailed me, have a lot of kinks that they almost like fucking hate themselves for. I've had plenty of guys who have a kink of like being super submissive and having a woman like dominate them. I've had plenty of guys that like pegging. I've had plenty of guys that like cuckolding. I've had plenty of guys that like, chastity, like a bunch of that kind of stuff. And they're sort of so terrified that like, oh, what if my friends found out? What if other guys found out? What if they thought I was a stupid cuck or a beta or a loser or this or that? And it's like, bro, if you like it and you consent and the woman consents and afterwards you both feel good about it, because that's important too. Like, as long as all of you feel good afterwards and you're glad you did that, like who gives a shit what someone else thinks? And I think it's a really good place to show yourself that like, hey, there's probably someone else out there who has my kink, who enjoys this, who actually thinks it's kind of fucking cool. Again, as long as no one's getting hurt and everyone consents. Like, yeah. Do you think like, go.
I just had a few more things that I wanted to add.
Jump in, man.
So actually, I do have one that I can share, which I really like brats, like girls that like, they kind of show you a little bit of disrespect, but then you put them in their place. I think that's very hot, but I thought it was just like kind of like, I guess wrong, just like, like being like more rough with them. But I guess, some of them, they like that, it's like.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of guys have like a kink for being a little more dominant or a little more rough or like disciplining a woman or punishing her or putting her in a place or even just like some light spanking and shit. But they do have all those thoughts in their head of like, almost like not quite white knight, but like, am I being bad if I beat a woman? Like, isn't that abuse? Isn't that domestic violence? Especially with how much like the media doesn't shut the fuck up about like domestic. It's never okay to hit a woman. It's like, yes, it is. If she asks for it, that's okay. Yeah, that's great if she asks for it. But I think That's a pretty common one, man. A lot of guys have that side of themselves that they think like it'd be kind of fun, like spanking a woman, as long as you're doing it in like, it's coming from a good place. But like, yeah, there's that almost that fear of like, isn't this a sick, twisted fantasy? And I think when you find women, and it sounds like you have you met many bratty women? Like, have you had a chance to explore that?
No, I haven't had a chance to explore it. I haven't gone to too many FetLife events. I would like to, but I just need to go to those events. But continue what you're saying.
When you start exploring that part of yourself and you see that women get something out of it and like it, and you see that afterwards, you talk about it and you're like, hey, that was fun. Was it fun for you? And she's like, that was amazing. And you're like, oh, so why was I so worried about this thing? And usually it is just because you're worried about what other people might think of you, or if they'll think you're a bad person, or if you've done something wrong. And it's like, what could possibly be wrong if you both consent? And I had to go through a lot of this myself with a lot of my kinks, because I have plenty of kinks. Like, I enjoy being submissive from time to time. I've taught Imogen how to be quite dominant. I had to teach her, and bless her soul, I still have to tell her how to be dominant. So it's like me dominating her to dominate me. But like, I love that side of myself. But for the longest time, I was fucking embarrassed to admit that. I was like ashamed to admit that. I didn't even want to. If you go back like a couple of years, I don't talk about that stuff on my podcast or anything. Because I was like, what if people find out and they think I'm a cock, or they think I'm this? And it's like, who gives a shit? If they're going to think that about you, they're not really your friend. It's not really someone who has your best interests at heart. They're literally saying, I don't want you to be happy because I have my own preferences and you're not lining up with them. It's like, that's not a friend. That's like a dictator. So yeah, I'm glad you've started finding this kind of community. Would you say this is a good step for someone who isn't super experienced? Because you weren't super experienced. Like when you first hit me up for coaching, were you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still not super experienced. But it definitely has like given me these novelty experiences, which I do think like I'm not 100% sure if I want to like keep this as a lifestyle. I want to get more experience, but definitely if you haven't been in a lot of sexual situations, it's a good way to get there, because I have and just to build that confidence too, because there's a girl I gave 3 orgasms to, and that felt that felt pretty fucking good. And
and I feel like it's a good place to just literally explore shit that you're probably not going to get a chance to explore for a little while. Like you would have eventually, but it's like you get to speed run that. It's for a lot of guys, like maybe you say to them, hey, go outside and talk to women. And they're like, okay, I want to do that. But like, I almost don't know what I'm missing out on because, I haven't had a lot of sexual experience, or maybe I'm even a virgin. And like, I'm sure sex is wonderful and great and exciting, but like, is it really worth the effort of like going outside and talking to women and doing all that? Like that stuff can be difficult at the start. It can be scary. I think if you go to one of these sex clubs or an orgy or a tantric event or something like that, you get to see the sex is this like amazingly fucking fun, diverse, interesting, crazy, hot, wild thing. And then you go back home and you're like, God damn, son, let me go on Tinder and take some decent pictures. Let me just go outside and talk to some women. Because imagine if I could have that with a woman that like I can meet at my own pace and like I don't have to go to an event for. It's like we can just explore this stuff together. So have you found it motivating for yourself?
It definitely is motivating. Like if I have been in a slump and I go to this event, it's just like, because there are a few experiences from this one past Sunday that are still lingering in my mind. I'm like, damn,
okay,
that was
come on, chef.
So there was so the thing that blew my mind is there was a group that we had of 5 people, 3 guys, 2 girls, and we went to the blindfold room where you have to be blindfolded in order to I guess play in it. And so
I like that. Yep.
Yeah, we had a session where we're all blindfolded and we're just touching each other. And this girl, she was like hugging me, and so eventually, I started fingering her, and it was just it was warm, it was tight, it was great. But
that's got to be like a psychedelic experience almost, like because you're not even aware. You're just like you're a massive like people. You can't see anything. That's got to be some deep shit.
Yeah. It was interesting, we were just like enjoying the experience and just touching each other. It was just fun. So that happened. And yeah, eventually, I made out with the girl I was fingering. And yeah, she was, oh, and she was a swinger too. So I guess, yeah, there's all these sorts of like relationship dynamics that you're also going to experience. Like, she was like
Yeah.
married and her husband, was there. And I just felt kind of weird, just like fooling around with his wife. But I guess, they were fine with the dynamics. I was like, all right, that's fine.
It's an interesting way to like expose yourself, like you said, to different types of relationship dynamics, to different kinks, to different like forms of the human body, to different forms of, different expressions of sexuality as well. Like some people will want to have sex, other people will only want to make out at these places. And it's almost like, it's like a weird form of socializing. It's like sexual socialization.
Yeah.
Because when you socialize, you go and meet a bunch of people and you realize they have different preferences, different likes, dislikes. They have a different laugh. They have different jokes. Like everyone's their own human being. Like when you go to one of these sex parties, it sounds like, and again, I haven't been to one, but I've met plenty of friends who have. One of my mates goes to these sex parties like all the fucking time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
From what I hear about it, from what you and other people tell me, it seems like a pretty interesting way to realize that like every body is like different. And I think that's something you don't realize until you've had a bit of sexual experience. Like I didn't realize that until I'd slept with quite a few women, where it's like, oh shit, every woman is different. Because you get this so much with like pickup artists and just guys that maybe don't have as much experience and stuff like that, where they'll say like, all women like this, or like women love it when you fuck them really hard. And it's like, what do you mean women love it? Plenty of women don't love that. What are you talking about? As if every woman likes that. And it's just sort of a naivety or not realizing that every single woman is like, every single person is completely freaking different. So I feel like this is a good way to socialize and figure that out. Did that surprise you that people were so different?
I mean, I don't know. I was like pretty, I like to go into these events with like no expectations. And I don't know. It's just like, I feel like I'm already kind of pretty much like non-judgmental and accepting anyways. So it didn't surprise me much.
Yeah. So what advice would you give for someone who's like, maybe let's say a guy who's super inexperienced, or maybe he's a little bit nervous or something. Like, I know you're not like the super master of going to tantric events and stuff like that, but what have you learned from the first couple that you've gone to? Like what advice would you give if some guy's wanting to find one of these events and go to it and have a decent time?
Yeah. I mean, just, give yourself permission to not do anything. Like there were guys there that were just like watching. You don't have to participate. And they make that very clear up front. They don't put any pressure on you. I think, that's part of the vibe that I like as well. It's just like, it's non-judgmental, it's accepting, it respects you, whoever you are. And if you don't want to, there's like one guy who, and I thought this was great once he did it, because I had some like insecurities myself, but the guy was, he took out his dick and just started masturbating to other people, doing whatever they're doing. And it's just like, wow, I didn't even realize I could do that.
You didn't want to be the first one to do it because you're like, what if this is
I didn't even know I could do that.
Yeah. But you just get your dick out and everyone's like, whoa, what are you doing? No, we don't do that here. And you're like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Yeah, no one wants to be the first motherfucker to do it, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was fine. Like the facilitator said, like, if you do want to, masturbate, just make sure like everyone's okay with it. And then, you can do that. But it's so for someone like new attending these events, just talk to people. Say you're new. People love, helping other new people, and then make sure to network, because just add them on like Facebook or Instagram or whatever you have, or FetLife. Actually, FetLife would probably be a solid way to go. And then find like a tantra group within your city. So like, whatever city I'm in, they have a tantra group, and there's a lot of people that just post events to that, and then that way you'll know when like the next event is. But but yeah, I mean, the people that you know will definitely be your gateway to the next events. Um, and of course, yeah, like I said, people love helping other new people just feel more comfortable. So there's not
I
much to
think
worry about.
I think what you said there is really worth highlighting, that like it's okay to just sit and watch. Like if
Mhm.
you're a newbie and you're super experienced, you can literally just say to yourself, like, I'm just going to go to one of these events and watch. I'm too fucking scared to do anything. Hey, that's perfectly okay. I'm just going to
Yeah.
sit on the sidelines and kind of watch. And then I at least get to see other people having sex, like right there live, because it's very different from porn, right? Like it's not the same.
Well, yeah. Also, I'd like to add like one more thing. It's not just like people like just having sex like right in front of you. People are doing different things. There's a lot of stuff going on. The last place we were at had like alpacas outside, and sometimes I would take a break and go feed the alpacas. They had like yeah, it was great. They had like ice baths. Sometimes people were just socializing. A lot of people were eating the finger foods. There was this one thing that blew my mind because I've never seen this before. There was a vacuum latex bed, or like
With the fetish, the vacuuming fetish, where you lay in it and is that what you're gonna
yeah,
say? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and all that's like everything is latex, but like the only place you have to breathe is like your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just watched that. I mean, I was too like afraid to get into it. I did get into it, but then because for like novelty, but I panicked
Yeah,
when
you're like, don't vacuum me. I don't want to fucking.
yeah, and then I just got out. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people just like watching that, and there's going to be events where you can just like watch other people do stuff,
Mhm.
and or yeah, you don't even have to participate. You can just watch the entire thing, eat, and just
Yeah, man.
the finger food, it was phenomenal. I got to say that much.
There
I,
you go. Just
I
go for the food, stay for the
exactly,
sex.
yeah.
I
That's a good
feel
saying.
like one thing you've brought up multiple times, which I've known from friends who've gone to these parties, they've all said the same thing. A big part of like these events is like communication and basically just saying what you want, like literally saying, "Yo, can I jerk off?" And then someone will say like, "Sure," or saying like, "Yo, can I touch you?" Yeah, sure. And that really does translate to like general normal sex with women.
Hmm.
Like as in outside these events, like you are allowed to, guys, you are literally allowed to just ask for what you want. She might say no, like you can't guarantee she'll say yes, but like you're allowed to just say like, "Yo, can I do this? Do you want to come back to my place and fool around? Yo, do you want to try some ropes? Yo, do you want to have sex?" Like you're allowed to
Yeah,
literally just ask.
and that's actually a topic I wanted to cover because
Mm-hmm.
um, in this session that I went to, is it was a lot of it was like a good healing session for me because I was like
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of going after what I wanted. I was and I did this I'm pretty sure I've done this like for a long time, even at like the other play parties, but I was more focused on um, her pleasure and
Mm.
giving than I was at my own. And I wanted to focus on my own pleasure because at both play parties, I ended up leaving just sad. The first one, I was actually like
Yeah, I
sad because I
remember.
was like, I can't, you know, I, I, I can't feel pleasure. And I feel like this past Sunday, I realized that maybe I've been suppressing my own pleasure.
Yep.
Um, and I don't know why or how it's happening, but it just feels like I I wasn't able to say exactly like what I wanted because like there were a few facilitators there and they're like, yeah, um, we can hold you like emotionally or physically if necessary, if you want. And yeah, I went to a few of them and I was like, I am having trouble like just communicating with people.
Mm-hmm.
There was one point where in my mind I was thinking, and this girl, she was giving a kind of like a TED talk, so to speak, on how to deep
Mm-hmm.
throat because one of the other girls I had asked. And, in my mind, and there's another guy that was like, "Yeah, you can demo on me if anytime you want." And I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And in my mind, I was thinking, I would like one of the girls, I would like somebody to demo on me as well. And I had so much like resistance, like just saying that, it's just like, um, but yeah, eventually I did say it. And then when I was talking to the facilitator, I was like, I, it seems like I'm like filtering in my mind what I want. And I had so much trouble saying that because I'm afraid that saying what I want is just like, not the right thing to do or whatever. Um, and yeah, it was just in that sense, it was a good healing thing because now I know like what I need to work on, like just like communicating exactly what I want. And yeah, I wanted to have like penetrative sex, but I think I was like limiting. Yeah, like I said, I was suppressing my own pleasure, and I didn't know. And even now, I feel like kind of ashamed, like um, you know, that's all I want, and I'm telling you, and I guess whoever else listens to this, I just want to go to this event and have sex, and even just saying that feels wrong in some way.
There's two things I'd do here, mate. Like I would dig deep into, like I'd start unpacking that. So what I would do after this call is I would sit down and I'd get out a big piece of paper and I'd basically at the top I'd write, why am I not allowed to have sexual pleasure? Or why am I not allowed to have what I want? Or even why don't I deserve? Because they're all themes of that. And I would start like whatever comes up. If you want prompting, I love that you're writing this down, by the way. Good man. I would prompt you. Whatever comes up when you use these prompts, like write it down. So some dark stuff might come up. It's like, well, because you're a fucking pussy or you're just a loser or you don't deserve anything, or it's because you're fucking weak and you're a coward. Like some dark stuff might come up. And then each one of those things you write down, I would start digging through those. So if something comes up and it says like, I'm weak, or I'm a coward, or I'm pathetic, or I'm not as good as other people, or other people deserve pleasure, but not me because I'm pathetic. Like, dig into that and say, like, well, is that true? Why am I pathetic? Like, where's the fucking evidence that I'm pathetic? And stuff might come up. It might be like, well, because like I had erectile dysfunction in my 20s and even now. Or, well, because I haven't had much sexual experience, so women like guys with sexual experience. And just start digging through each one of those and basically asking yourself, is this true? Or does this have to be true? Does it have to be true that because I have erectile dysfunction, I don't deserve pleasure? Like, is that true? If that's the case, then like there's a lot of men on the planet who don't deserve sexual pleasure. Would I deny those guys sexual pleasure? Like, would I walk up to them, look them in the eyes and say, hey, pussy, you don't deserve any sort of pleasure or what you want. You don't deserve anything because your dick doesn't always work. Would I say that to them? You probably wouldn't, because I know you. You're a nice human being. You're not going to say that to someone else. And so why would you say that to yourself? And so you can sort of start unpacking each one of these. And it does take effort. It does take time. It takes work. I'm not saying you just magically heal, but that's kind of the journey that we're on. That's kind of like, that's how you process these insecurities. And then the second answer, and man, this is the one that's going to make the biggest impact, is you just kind of push yourself to do it. And that's easier said than done. So you do have to be patient with yourself. You have to forgive yourself if you can't do it. You have to forgive yourself if some shame comes up and you give into that shame, or if some fear comes up and you let the fear win. Like, that's okay. That's going to happen. Like, hey, we all give in to our fears from time to time, but pushing yourself to actually do it, like it sounds like you did asking for the blowjob. It's like, mate, that's a huge fucking victory. That's a wonderful fucking victory. And it's like, chalk those up, almost write them down on a piece of paper. Hey, brother, that might actually be a good thing to do. Write them down on a piece of paper. Every one of these victories that you have, even if they're so fucking difficult for you, and it seems like such a tiny victory, you're like, wow, all I did was ask for a blowjob. It's like, write that down, man. And then when you've racked up like 20 victories, you're going to see like, oh, fuck, I am actually capable of what I like, asking for what I want. It just takes me a lot of effort and practice and pushing myself, and I'm not great at it, sure, but I can do it. Look, I've done it 20 times, and that will give you confidence with the next time. So this really is a process of like learning, basically unlearning your old habits and learning that you are allowed to ask for what you want. Nothing bad will happen. No one's going to sort of, they're not going to take the ball away from you and say like, no, we're playing basketball without you. You don't get to play with the ball. It's like, no, dude, you're allowed to play as well. I think you just have to sort of show yourself that. And obviously not everyone is going to say yes. And so I think it's also worth reminding yourself that if a woman ever does say no, it's like, that's okay. In the same way that you will say no to some people. Like, you might not be into everything. So,
right.
But yeah, man, I think that's a bigger victory than you think it is. That you asked for the blowjob. That's a huge fucking victory. And even just speaking to the facilitators, that's another victory. Write that one down. Anytime we speak about something that, even you talking on this podcast, that's another victory. I'm sure that was fucking hard. You just told me you felt shame bringing that up. That's a victory. Yeah. You did it anyway. You felt the fear. You felt the shame. There's a book that's sitting on my bookshelf right now that I've started reading called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It's like, that's you.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, rack up those victories, man.
Yeah. So it's fine to go to a play party and just be just only want sex.
Yeah. Why wouldn't that be okay? What else would you want? It's like, why? Okay, so here's a really good. I love playing this fucking like hypothetical. If Andy, said to you, I want to go to a sex party and just have sex, like, what would you say? Would you say like, no, that's wrong? Like what comes up in your mind when you say that?
Yeah, it's a sex party.
So then why is it fine for me but not you?
I don't know. I guess,
what's the difference? What's the difference between you and me? Like, what have I done, or what have I earned, or what kind of person am I that would deserve those things, but you don't? Like, and I'm being serious. Like, literally, tell me, and you don't have to know all the answers. Maybe you have to go away after and figure them out. But
yeah,
like, why?
I mean, like, if I hear it versus say it to myself, yeah, I guess that's where the judgment, I guess self-judgment comes in. But like, just saying Andy wants to go to a sex party and have sex. I mean, that's what you would do at a sex party. That's why it's called a sex party.
Yeah. And you'd be a weirdo if you said like, bro, don't go and have sex at the sex party. But for some reason, and that's why I said dig deep and like figure out like literally sit in front of a mirror or sit in front of a piece of paper and like ask yourself, why do I not deserve to have sex at a sex party? But everybody else I'm assuming you think that everybody else who goes there does.
Well, I didn't think about that. I just think that I don't. It's tough. I guess it's tough for me to admit it, that I want to do that. But
admitting it is the first step. Like, first of all, admitting that you want it, and then even admitting like, I don't think I deserve it. It's like, mate, that's how we start unpacking that shit. That's courage. You admitting that is like, there you go. That's another victory you can put on your piece of paper. Like, and even admitting that to some other people. It's like I said to you before, just admit to the girl that you hadn't texted yet. Like, yo, hey, I kind of exaggerated before, or I'm worried that you'll think less of me, or that you think too highly of me. Like, just admitting that shit. That's courage, man.
Okay.
Regardless of their reaction, don't ever admit something to someone trying to get a reaction. Don't even have an expectation of what their reaction is. And you're pretty good at not having expectations. Like, you are pretty good at being pretty open-minded. So even when you like admit something, don't even think what their reaction is. The whole reason you're admitting it is to practice your confidence and practice running towards your fears. You're building yourself up. You don't care what they have to say in response. You literally don't care.
Yeah, I would disagree with you in that sense. I would care for a reaction if it's in a situation that would cause me shame otherwise. So yeah, I think that would be a good exercise though.
Sure, but then here's what I would counter. Like, I understand why you would have an aversion to shame, but nobody else has ever shamed you.
Yeah.
You shame yourself. No one else can shame you.
Yeah.
Like, people have said, people can say all sorts of vile stuff about you. If a homeless person said to you like, oh, you're a piece of shit, and he was like drunk and he said you're a piece of shit, you'd be like, okay, like, I hope your day gets better. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. Like, you don't feel shame. But yet, if I don't know, someone you look up to, if I was to say like, and I was to be really serious about it, and I was to say, hey, I'm just letting you know that I genuinely think you're a piece of shit, that would probably make you feel a lot of shame. If your parents said that you're a piece of shit, that would make you feel shame. So it's like, you're the one that's telling yourself that is shame. You're the one that's feeling that shame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
It's similar to expectations. It's like, nobody ever disappoints us. Like, nobody else can ever disappoint us. We tell a story of how they didn't do what we wanted them to do, and then we disappoint ourselves. So same sort of thing with shame. It's like, if there's not that story or that belief there, you won't feel shame. And I'm not telling you like, hey, bro, just get over the shame, bro. Like, no, it's a process. You have to learn to let go of it. You have to learn to move past it. But It feels like you're already in the first stages of that. And I guess I'm trying to give you credit and say, hey, mate, you're already doing this, and give yourself some credit. Do you want to talk a little bit about manhood and being hard, and, you know, how you had tied anytime you couldn't get hard, you'd sort of tied that to your masculinity and your manhood. And then when you went to see this masseuse who sort of created this like safe space for you, like this non-judgmental space for you, and she gave you this like tantric massage, and you said you felt like you could just be open and honest and vulnerable and real, and there wasn't like any sort of pressure.
Yeah.
Like, and you sort of told yourself there are other ways, or you realized there are other ways to please a woman that doesn't involve my dick. Like, how transformative was that for you? Or was that like the start of this journey of like realizing like it's not all about your dick, and if your dick doesn't get hard, who gives a shit? Like,
well, I'll start by saying I think I might have regressed. Taking
like
a step backwards.
Before, that happens, man. Like, this is a journey. This isn't just like, oh, you had one good experience, so you should be perfect now. But yeah, keep going. I interrupted.
Because I went to the doctor, the dick doctor, as I like to call it, a month ago. Sure. Yeah. And, you know, I, of course, felt shame when I told him I had a ED, and then he was like, all right, here's some like Cialis. Here's this sildenafil, whatever it's called. And then I don't know that I kind of forgot about whatever I said earlier, with the openness, and I do like that mentality. I don't want to have to rely on sildenafil, but it did make me feel like, okay, at least now if I'm in a situation where my dick doesn't work, at least I have a solution. I do tie my masculinity and my manhood to my dick working. And I
think a lot of guys do, man.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. I mean, I think it came with the lack of sexual experience as well. And it's like, well, if my, dick doesn't work and I don't have a lot of sexual experience, then what can I provide? But I know that's not true. Because, I can finger her. I can, put a vibrator on her. I can tease her. I can do some BDSM stuff and, kind of like, psychologically have fun with her. I mean, as long as she likes that. There's just a lot of other stuff I can do. It's just getting my mind on board. I definitely do have to do a lot of like internal work to just get past all my limiting beliefs, because I know I have a lot of them regarding shame and regarding my masculinity.
Even when you say like, I have to do a lot of work, you know what I'm going to say. I would switch that around and say, I get to do a lot of work. And that's an important reframing. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, rather than saying, oh, I have all these problems, like I have this big hurdle that I have to surmount. Like, how do I fix my erectile dysfunction? Instead, you basically tell yourself, no, this is something I get to do. I get to work on these things. That sounds like you're pissing in a cup, by the way. I get to work on these things, you know what I mean? Because then you're excited. Then you're like, oh shit, I get to do this, rather than seeing it as a chore. And it might seem like I'm just nitpicking, but this is something I pointed out to a few times in the coaching. It's like you're trying to make these problems as small as you can, as like easy to fix as you can, so you don't overwhelm yourself. It sounds to me like some of these sex parties that you've been to, and some of the people that you've talked to, and even some of the dates that you've had and stuff, has all been like really fucking good for your psyche. And you're going to do whatever you want to do. But like, if you were to ask me for unsolicited advice, I'm going to give it to you. I would recommend you go to more of these things, man. It sounds like you're meeting people who are genuinely fucking open-minded, regardless of if you even have sex there or not. Just even talking to these motherfuckers, they sound like people that understand shit. They understand like shame. They understand guilt. They understand like
That's true.
It's not even so much shame. It's like feelings of I don't deserve this stuff. And I know there's shame tied up in that, but that's sort of almost a separate thing. And I feel like you went to a doctor and you're like, yo, can I get, you opened up, right? So there's another win for you. You going to the doctor and opening up, man, put that on your list. That's another win. But you opened up and you said like, hey, I feel, I'm feeling the shame. My dick doesn't work. And what you didn't realize is that most doctors are just like, okay, I don't care. You take this pill, fuck off. Like that's most doctors, and fair enough. That's like the medical industry in a nutshell. But I feel like the best healing that you would do would be going to these places, like just showing yourself that like you're allowed to have a sexual experience if you want to. It doesn't matter if your dick works or not. Ironically, if you don't worry so much about your dick, you can get hard. It's you just sort of sitting there worrying about it, thinking about it. And all this, we talked about this, during the coaching and stuff like that. But point being, it feels like this is a very like decent place for you to be right now. Like these sex parties. Sounds like this is very fucking good for you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really do like the communities. Just like not even talking about specific people, just the Tantra community as a whole is just very accepting, and I feel like I can talk about these kind of issues with them without any judgment, and similarly with the BDSM community, like I guess they get a lot of different characters, like you said, and so they're like by default just very understanding and accepting, and so that's a good idea. I never like actually thought, let me talk about some of my deeper issues with some people. Like I've kind of been keeping it surface level about like what the parties are like, but yeah, that's a good idea. I just like open up and talk about the shame that I feel sometimes, and understand how they like what kind of things they did to get through. Or
man, because that lots of them would have gone through the same stuff. Like most people feel some sort of sexual shame, or like at least sexual fear, or like lack of confidence, like a lot of that stuff. A lot of people feel like it's wrong to have sexual urges, or especially kinks and stuff like that. So it's not like you're all alone, but you think you're all alone just because you haven't talked to anyone about it. And they're not going to be like, hey, by the way, do you have any trauma? You're going to be like, like no one starts a conversation like that. So it is sort of up to you to just like sprinkle those, like just start those conversations and, start healing that shit. But it sounds like a very fucking positive thing for you. Do you... Let's talk little bits and pieces. If there's more you want to talk about with this, we can revisit this. But let's talk a little bit outside, like what you're going to do after, because your coaching is finished now. Like what your goals are for the future. I know you said before this call that your diet is a little better, or a lot better. You feel like you're on track with that. What do you want for the future? Like, what are your goals? What are you working on? What's the next evolution of you?
So I'll start with health. And this is also a continuation of the dick doctor stuff. So in addition to going and just talking with him, I also did some blood tests, found out my like testosterone was low. So now I'm trying to do a treatment plan to restore, that to I guess regular levels for men.
Perfect.
And that's great. Like I'm just really happy I started that process of getting that back on track, because I had posted my progress pictures in one of the channels in the Discord group, and people were saying, it was like the exact same picture, 10 months apart. People were saying like the only thing that's grown is your hair. and I was like, I don't know, I was just under the impression that if your diet and sleep were bad, that it doesn't matter if you're going to the gym, you'll probably still look the same. But I don't know, like you're the resident fitness expert, who we both know who that is, but I don't want to say his name if he doesn't want to.
Sure. Yeah.
And he was, I don't know, he just told me some stuff like, and then eventually the conversation led to testosterone, and it could be explained by that, but I want to know for sure everything I can do to fix that, because I do want to see gains. That's one of my goals.
I feel like that's very much a big, like that's kind of what the overarching theme of your coaching was. It's like giving yourself permission to like fix things, to work on things, to improve things, to have the things you want and that you deserve. I think that was very much a theme of the coaching is for a lot of things, it felt like you didn't think you deserved them. You've even said that on this podcast.
Yeah.
And the other guys in the group were trying to just tell you like, dude, you deserve whatever you want. Like there is no deserve about it. If you want something, let's make it happen. It's not even whether or not you deserve it. It's like, I want the thing. Cool. Let's make that happen. So it's been nice to see you like after the coaching is over, because you and I finished coaching a while ago. It's been nice to see you like continue that and, you know, start taking those steps towards the things that you want. Yeah, it's been really inspiring to see, man.
Thanks.
And write down all these victories that I've told you, because you've got a lot now. Even texting this girl, that's a victory.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? It's like you're going to write down 50 of these things, and you're feeling what?
it's all just in my head, but it's like, oh no, maybe my typing is too distracting for Andy. You know?
That's all right. Hey, it's not me. Hey, I don't care. The audience will care. The audience will say like, oh man, Andy interrupted him too much and he typed too much, and when he was like pouring water, but it's like whatever. Like, sorry guys, we try and do the best job. We're just both two shitty humans trying to do the best we fucking can, you know?
Yeah.
We don't have professional audio. Well, I do, but you don't. Is there anything you would like to, anything you feel like we haven't covered before we start wrapping up?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to, I'll touch like a little bit on like, health, wealth, relationships. I can probably wrap it up in like 10 minutes or so.
No, you don't have to rush, man. What do you want to talk about?
Well, so right now, like in addition to all the doctor stuff I'm doing, and then diet, fixing my sleep, because I think the last time I actually like had consistently good sleep was like middle school. And so
that can be a problem. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like, I have accountability from a few of the guys to like sleep at a certain time. And, I'm just making sure that like, I'm letting diet slide a bit just so that way I can get this sleep habit fixed, because I know like once I fix it, I can fix my diet again.
Perfect. Have you read my sleep article? Like how to get good sleep? Okay.
No.
Go read that. So just search my website for sleep. I will leave a link in the description to this video as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I've listed out everything there's even a book recommendation in there called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. That's just like the definitive book on how to sleep well. Really good book. So
okay.
Yeah. Sleep, health, relationships.
Well, yeah, I mean, online dating has also kind of stagnated. Like, I felt that since my pictures weren't good, then, there's no point in swiping. But I slowly restarted that. Like, I just do like one swipe session a day.
Good.
Yeah, and I'll do the approaching stuff that you mentioned earlier in this
go out
podcast.
There on the front lines.
Yeah.
Go out every day for 15 minutes, do that for a week, and then after you're feeling confident with that, you can go out every single day and start pushing yourself to talk to women. Or even if you can't do that, push yourself to make eye contact with like 5 women a day and smile at them.
Yeah, that's good.
And then from there, just start talking to some of them. So it doesn't really matter how you do it, but it's all a matter of just putting yourself out there and giving yourself the opportunity to do it, and then keep pushing yourself. If you just show up every day, you will eventually accidentally start hitting on women.
Cool.
If you do it enough times in a row. And the pictures, you already said you're taking better pictures. So it's just a process of taking at least one picture every day and not feeling that, or not stressing about that resistance to taking photos. Yeah.
I guess one more thing I would like to talk about is just, so my job stuff, I'm happy in the sense, like now I'm actually looking for jobs that I can handle, but I've had a lot of resistance towards searching for jobs. There were like weeks where I just like didn't do anything, and then I had like
that's
people
called
just
procrastination. Like, welcome to being a shitty human. Like we all do that. I do that. The answer again is like make it as ridiculously easy as you can. So if you have resistance with looking to jobs, here's what I do when I can feel myself procrastinating like really badly. I will tell myself I only have to do it for 5 minutes. And all I have to do is set a stopwatch for 5 minutes right now, or like a countdown timer for 5 minutes, hit start, and then look for some jobs. And even if all I do is go to the job search website and I don't even click on anything because I'm feeling resistance that fucking strongly, just have the fucking job website open on the browser for 5 minutes while you stare at the screen. Done. You're done for the day. You can run home and panic and fucking, oh God, I almost had a heart attack. And then tomorrow do the same thing again. And if you do that a couple of days in a row, you'll start feeling like a fucking idiot just opening up the window and not doing anything. That'll feel stupid. You'll be like, why the fuck am I just not, like, I've got the window here. I may as well actually click on some of these. You'll click on some of them. It's basically exposure therapy. It's like taking little baby steps and showing yourself that like nothing bad is going to happen. It's okay. You don't have to go and get a job tomorrow. You just have to, you know, do little baby steps. So always make every task as easy for yourself as you possibly can so that there is no resistance. Like pick the smallest possible amount of effort that you could ever do, that you will do, and then do that. And just keep doing that every day.
Okay. Yeah. I think exposure therapy can help me solve a lot of my problems.
That's basically the theme of your coaching for sure. Yeah. It's a theme of like a lot of your healing as well. It's like, hey, let me just go to these sex parties and just talk to people and just participate and see what happens. And so magic happens.
Yeah. I would say that's another solid reason for newbies to go. Just going there to, for exposure therapy for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So
relationships.
Oh, I mean, there's like nothing going on.
Well, you're not talking to women. What would
I haven't
you
been
didn't
talking
text
to
the
women.
You didn't text the women.
I texted the one that we talked about. But I haven't been. Let's see. I've been messaging matches that I've gotten on Tinder, but they, like, my first picture is solid and then the rest were just not that great. So I
know the answer to that.
I know. Take more pictures. So, but I mean, like, I know why they're not going anywhere. I think the biggest issue has been my own beliefs. Like, you know, I think, I think I just limit myself that way with, not wanting to talk to girls, you know, in the street or online. But I like what we did in this podcast where we set up some like action tasks. And you know, now that I get to do internal work, you know, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's like my favorite saying. There's always something you can do. It's like every problem has a solution. Yeah. Like always.
Yeah. I think that's it though. Yeah.
Do you want to give any shout outs to anyone else? Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to self-promote? I'm going to assume no, since you want it to be anonymous.
Okay. Give me a second. Self-promote. Yeah, I mean, nothing right now.
Shout outs to the kink community. There you go.
Shout outs like that. Yeah, definitely shout outs to the people that are involved in making the Tantra and BDSM communities in the city that I live in just really fun. And just a place where I can explore my kinks. Shout out to FetLife for making me feel like my kinks aren't weird or bad, because so many other people. Okay, so here's the thing. For the kink that you're into, there's people that like doing the kink, and there's people that like receiving the kink. Yes. And there's so many people that enjoy receiving the kink that you think is like so bad that it's like why worry? Like, there's just so many people out there who actually like it. So
there's almost nothing that someone else isn't into. Like pretty much nothing.
And of course the Discord guys, you know, they're like basically my second family now. Like, we just help each other with so much shit, and we go through a lot of, you know, ups and downs, but it's honestly great just seeing like everybody's wins. after everything, after they've worked through everything. But yeah, that's I, I guess that's a plug for you. You got to go through
For the
Andy's.
Discord, yeah. So
Yeah,
so if
Andy's
no one
coaching to
knows what
get
he's
there.
talking about with the Discord, it's the Discord group that comes with my coaching program. Yeah, and it's basically every single coaching client that I've ever worked with. So you get lifetime access to that. There's a solid bunch of dudes in there. Like I've
Yeah,
worked with some pretty amazing people over the years. Like it's somewhat surreal at times where you're like you meet all these wonderful fucking just amazing like go-getter human beings, like dudes that'll just take a bullet for you, like absolutely amazing people.
yeah,
And it's think about how you feel being in the group. You're like, man, like isn't this great? I get to meet all these people. Think about how it would feel for me getting to coach them. It's like you just wake up and you're fucking blessed. And it's like these people are giving you money. It's like you can't help but feel like I'm grateful to you as well, brother. It's like
yeah,
you just feel so grateful that you get to meet these people and that they give a shit what you have to say and they trust you and they respect your opinion and they want to make themselves better. Like it's a
yeah.
really wonderful thing. It's really fucking nice. So
Yeah, it's fantastic.
yeah, man. Where do you think, second final question, where do you think you would be if you hadn't signed up for coaching?
Still kind of struggling around, figuring out like what. Yeah, I mean, I've bounced through different like dating philosophies over the years, and I'm sure I would still be doing that. Um, and not feeling like, I guess one of the biggest things that I've struggled with is just I have a few friends who are also into self improvement, but we're also just kind of like aimlessly going and hoping that one of the thousands of things that we try ends up working out. But it's really, really nice to have people who are already killing it and already succeeding and being able to ask those people for advice on the things that you're currently struggling with. And
Saves you
yeah,
time.
yeah. And so I definitely think I don't think I would give up. I'm not the type of person that just gives up,
No, I
but I
don't
would
think you will.
definitely just be frustrated and aimlessly wandering around for a solution to help me with. Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess my dating problems, and then I'd still be at that job. Maybe not actually. Sorry, I wouldn't be at the job, but I'd also
No, you
be.
wouldn't.
I would also be much more miserable
Yeah.
because, yeah, yeah, I guess yeah, being part of the coaching program during that time was fantastic because helping me realize that everything was going to be okay just lifted a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, for anyone listening, you lost your job halfway through the coaching program, which is why I always crack up when people say like, "Oh, now's not the right time for coaching." It's like most of my coaching clients, like something will happen halfway through the coaching where it's like not the right time for coaching, and every single
Right.
time they're like, "Thank fuck I was doing coaching," because it's like I had Andy, I had the rest of the group to like basically catch me and stop me from falling. Because like, yeah, you basically lost your job in the middle of the fucking coaching and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck do I do? Guys, what do I do? And we're like, it's all right, bro. Like, here's a plan of action. Here's what you got to
Yeah.
do. Like, we got your back, brother. Just do this, do that, do this. And yeah, we basically showed you like, it's okay, man. Like nothing bad is going to happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, you've come a long way, man. If someone wants to sign up for coaching, they're kind of on the fence, what would you say to them?
I mean, think about your life where uh and what your goals are. Um if you're like me, then you probably just have a lot of really high goals that you want to reach, like maybe that fitness body, or you want to be just really good with women, or you want to find that one woman, or whatever you want. um I only started on the self-improvement journey like 6 months ago. And even after going through coaching with Andy, I have so much more distance to cover. Like it's at least probably, 5 to 10 more years of this stuff. If I did it without his help, it would be like double that time. So I just feel like definitely think about how much like how fast tracked your life could be in 3 months. Like it's amazing how much your life can change in 3 months. And I think, just even seeing like a lot of Andy's other coaching clients, and me included, people have literally transformed their lives. It's unbelievable. And yeah, I think you could too. Just take that step.
Look at you, man. That's the motto of the website. You could too. I love that. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, this was a lot I appreciate you having me. It was good to, yeah.
Let's just talk all over each other. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I'm the one that talks all over you. But I appreciate you coming on, brother. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and for me too. Like, and even just like learning again, you helped coach me through some like other issues that I had as well, and I appreciate that. And yeah,
sometimes we just need a reminder, don't we?
Yeah. Next time you want to have me on, or maybe a month or two, we can. I can give you a little update into what's going on.
We'll talk about your 73rd orgy by that point. Yeah, let's do it, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
All right,
Everybody
thanks.
else, go crush those goals.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. As I mentioned at the end of the interview, I have coaching available. I have one-on-one coaching and group coaching. And right now I have a very special, very sexy little deal for you boys and girls. If you sign up now, instead of 12 weeks, I am offering 15 weeks of coaching with yours truly. So don't miss out on that. Link in the description below. Adios.